Forget tech startups and Hollywood movies. Former NBA MVP Russell Westbrook wants to build his wealth on car parts and other less than glamorous operations, and he hopes it'll be enough to one day join the Billionaires Club. His strategy? Take advantage of corporate America's eagerness to diversify its supply chains. At least 32 automotive firms have pledged to do $1 billion of business with minority-owned companies each year. If Westbrook uses his NBA and endorsement earnings to buy, for example, a car parts manufacturer, he can instantly convert it into a minority-owned business, unlocking potentially $1 billion of opportunities. Russell Westbrook.
Yes, sir.
I want to talk about your business off the court.
Yeah.
I know we're getting ready for NBA playoffs, but it seems like there was a pretty conscious decision made maybe like two and a half years ago to maybe build out your business in a different way. So I want to know what started that conversation.
Just going back to my backstory, understanding that, basketball is going to be a short time in your life. And if you're lucky and blessed enough, you play, 10 years, 15 years, and if you really want, you can play 20. But through that process, understanding how I continue making an impact off the floor through business, through partners, and finding ways to be able to do that. And I would say about, since I've been in the league, I've been trying to find my niche and figuring out how I want to be able to make my impact off the floor and create, Russell Westbrook Enterprises and find ways to be able to create different things, entities underneath it to make an impact.
So, a lot of athletes these days, in addition to, the contracts and things like that, they want to build equity, they want to take stakes in companies, but it seems like very few want to build these operating businesses and see the growth. Why was that the route you decided to take?
The biggest part for me through all of this is making an impact and inspiring people, but not just that, but helping people out at the same time. I think a lot of times when you're in business, you may invest, you may do different things that make a lot of money, but also my strategy and our strategy here is to make sure that we have a social impact way of creating businesses by having operating businesses, but also using what we can to create impact in the communities and underserved communities, especially.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of your initiatives are focused on minority communities, underserved communities. You've talked about the supply chain and you want to get into that and real estate in South LA. So why is that the mission? And then also I'm curious what the business opportunity you see there is.
First, the mission there is, when creating and when talking about what we do as enterprises, we first want to, as you mentioned, diversity is big. It's big for me. It's big for our communities globally, finding ways to better use diversity to impact in any business that we do. Secondly, for us is having an impact, having a social impact and using that to be able to impact underserved, especially minorities globally, underserved communities globally, whatever it is that you may mention, like finances, insurance, health, whatever it is that we can be able to give back to the community. And with that, we have a process of using that to create, growth and equity in these businesses to be able to now create equity and elevate these businesses, but also elevate these communities at the same time.
And is there a business opportunity there that you see, like these are underserved people with these services that you can, build a big business on top of that?
I always try to find ways and figuring out, not like hit home runs, but find different things inside underserved communities that can really be beneficial, that can help grow those businesses out to be as big as possible and also have a huge impact as well by doing so.
One of the things that strikes me is a lot of these ventures that you're getting into are going to require years and years of time and attention, and obviously, making a quick buck's probably not going to happen anywhere, but it seems like specifically you're choosing things that are going to take patience. And I know you mentioned part of this is, planning your life after you're done playing. And, some guys like to get into coaching, some guys like to get into broadcast, some guys like to sail off in the sunset. But it seems like you're very interested in this being a career that you do when you're done playing.
I want to be able to create a real legacy. And to me, I think legacy is created on the impact and the people you inspire along the way and using basketball as a stepping stone, as a platform, but not selling as a part of my legacy and with business and with the social impact things that we do throughout the business that we build and created. I want to be able to use that to make a crazy impact on the world globally and people all around the world.
Everyone I talk to says you're very hands-on. You want to know everything that's going on. Obviously, that's very time-consuming. When you're like in the NBA season, what does that mean? Does that mean you're looking on planes?
Middle of the night, on the planes, in the morning, whenever, because I'm so locked in. I'm going back and forth with my president, Donnell. We text 5 in the morning, midnight, about different ideas, different thing about how we want to create the business, how we want to grow it. And with that, it's going to take work. Just like me playing basketball, it takes a lot of work, and any other business that you want to be a part of, and it takes work.
How is Russell Westbrook, the basketball player, different than Russell Westbrook, the businessman?
I would say the difference is he's a lot more patient. He's a lot more patient. Business sometimes has his mind of its own. He's a lot more patient, but have the same mindset, which is very important. My mindset does not change about how to get things to work and work, but have to be more patient and understanding every deal is not a great deal. Understanding the impact, understanding the process is more important to me, and understanding and learning about different businesses and how they can help and how they can impact. And I think when you do that, making the money and doing all the other stuff comes along with that.
Yeah, as you mentioned, you've played basketball your whole life. You know a lot about basketball. How do you go about learning about the automotive supply chain industry and these other industries?
Educating myself through advisors, great advisors that I have. By no means I'm no expert at anything, but one thing I do know about myself is I'm going to find ways to figure it out and ask questions. I have no pride and nothing in the game to not go to ask anybody questions. I've done it before that understands it. And with that, I try to use all information I can from someone or people that I've already done it, and trying to find my way to find my way in that niche as well.
So obviously, you're very ambitious on the court, ambitious off the court. I'm wondering, how big do you think Russell Westbrook Enterprises can be? I talked to Don Nelly, your business partner. He said you guys text and say, $1 billion is not enough. You want to build a multi-billion-dollar enterprise.
Not enough. It's simple as that for us, and we talk about it all the time, and I really mean it. Like, with all the resources, and I've been extremely blessed and grateful to be in this position and have this platform and have access to many powerful people and successful people globally. And with that, as you mentioned, $1 billion not enough, and we're gonna grow until we can grow and keep working at it. So
one thing I've been wondering is, obviously, I watched your Showtime documentary, and you're very motivated by negative comments and criticism. I'm wondering if you've heard any of that or been motivated by any of that on the business side of things.
I haven't heard it personally, but there's been deals that have fell through. There's been things that didn't work out as I envisioned it. And with that, I've learned patience. I learned to understand and learn that through those ups and downs, there's always positive you can learn through that process, and that's how I intake it. Now, what did I learn throughout this process that now when I have another deal in place, or when I'm talking to another supplier, how can I do different this time?
If we look back through history, Michael Jordan, Magic, guys that they were known, obviously well known as basketball players, but now a lot of them are known for their business. How do you go about establishing this reputation as a business person?
I think the first point is you have to take it very seriously. I think a lot of times just people want to do a lot of things but don't take the actual business, understanding the business and understanding, as we mentioned, how much time and energy and effort it takes to be able to create a successful business. Yes, there are times where you can get lucky and you have an investment and boom, you got 20x, but a lot of the times there are great opportunities that takes time, that takes my energy and takes my effort to be able to understand that business to make it successful.
So what does your off season look like? One of the people I talked to said that when your season ends, that's when you really go to work.
Yeah, I'm usually dialed in during the season, but I'm also working business as well throughout. But in the summertime, I have a lot more time to really dive in, to travel places, to have more meetings, to dive in and educate myself on other things that we're working on and figuring out our goals as an enterprise and kind of how we look into next quarters, into each year, and kind of seeing where we are.
So yeah, I'm curious, what sets Russell Westbrook Enterprises apart? What diversifies you guys, when you're pitching your digital ad business or, this auto supply chain business or things like that? What are you saying that, hey, this is why we stand out?
I think the most important thing, as I mentioned, is that I really stand on making an impact to the underserved and communities around the world. And I think it's something that, obviously people talk about, but I think actually I really want to be hands-on and understand and want to take that part of the process and how we construct our business very, very seriously. And as much effort as we use into marketing and partnerships, I want to use the same effort as putting back into the community and find a way to make a real impact and not just kind of writing a check and moving on, but actually creating programs, creating things that can actually help grow the community for years to come.
And then lastly, you've mentioned a few times legacy, and that's a big reason why you're doing this business that you're doing. What do you want that lasting legacy to be? And we look up in 10, 20 years, what do you want the Russell Westbrook impact?
Man, I honestly, legacy, and I got 3 little kids, man. I want to be able to create a legacy that when people see Russell Westbrook or Russell Westbrook Enterprises, they know that he cared about the people. He wanted to make an impact and inspire as many people as possible along this journey, and that to me is all that matters.